An elderly woman walks alone through the dusty streets of Jerusalem. In her hands, a mysterious map. In her mind, an impossible mission: to find the true cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified. What no one could have imagined is that this woman was about to make the greatest discovery in the history of Christianity. This isn't just another religious story. It's the story of Helena, a former tavern keeper who became the mother of the most powerful man in the world, Emperor Constantine. And today you'll discover how she not only found the cross of Christ, but also other sacred treasures that many believed were lost forever. But pay close attention, because in this video I'll reveal surprising evidence that few historians know. You'll understand why some call Helena the greatest archaeologist in Christian history, while others suspect her discovery may have been the greatest religious hoax ever orchestrated. At the height of the Roman Empire, when Christianity was still viewed with suspicion, Helena did something extraordinary. She convinced her own son, the emperor, to embrace a religion that had been persecuted until then. But how did a simple tavern keeper achieve such a feat? The answer will surprise you. Get ready for a journey through time, where politics and religion intertwine in one of the most fascinating stories ever told. And in the end, you'll be able to decide for yourself. Was Helena of Jerusalem a visionary saint or a brilliant political strategist? The year was 270 AD. In the bustling streets of Drepanum, a small town in Bithynia, a young woman worked in a tavern. Her name? Helena. What she didn't know was that her destiny was about to change forever when a Roman officer named Constantius Chlorus walked through that door. The love between Helena and Constantius was intense but also turbulent. From this romance, Constantine was born, a boy who carried the blood of both a commoner and a Roman noble. But the empire was cruel to forbidden love. When Constantius was given the chance to rise to power, he made his choice. He abandoned Helena to marry a noblewoman. Imagine the pain of this woman, rejected, humiliated, separated from the man she loved. But Helena didn't let herself be broken. It was in this moment of deep darkness that she found light in a religion that also knew persecution and suffering: Christianity. Meanwhile, her son Constantine grew up. And this, my friends, is where the story takes a surprising turn. Helena, now a devout Christian, maintained a quiet but powerful influence over her son. The seeds she planted would bear fruit greater than anyone could have imagined. In 312, Constantine was about to fight for the imperial crown. On the eve of the most important battle of his life, he had a vision that would change history: a Christian symbol in the sky and the words, "By this sign you will conquer." Was it a coincidence that this symbol belonged to the very faith his mother had embraced? Constantine's victory was absolute. And his first act? The Edict of Milan in 313, legalizing Christianity throughout the empire. Helena, the rejected former tavern keeper, was now the mother of the most powerful man in the known world. But she wasn't interested in power or revenge. Her eyes were fixed on something far greater. At 80 years old, when most people seek rest, Helena embarked on a journey that few would dare to imagine, a pilgrimage to the Holy Land that would change not only her life, but the face of Christianity forever. But before revealing what she found in Jerusalem, you need to understand the mystery that led her there. Jerusalem, the year 326. The holy city lay buried beneath centuries of history and destruction. The temple of Venus stood on the site where it was said Jesus had been crucified. To many, the sacred relics were lost forever. But Helena had other plans. With the authority of the Augusta of the empire and the resources of her son, she launched what we would today call an archaeological operation. She ordered the demolition of the Temple of Venus and dug deep into the soil of Jerusalem. The locals watched her, some with fascination, others with suspicion. What was this Roman woman searching for with such passion? The answer came on an extraordinary morning. Beneath layers of earth and history, her workers unearthed not one, but 3 crosses. Helena now faced what seemed to be an impossible dilemma: how to identify which one was the true cross of Christ. According to accounts of the time, Helena did something remarkable. A gravely ill woman was brought before her. Each cross was placed over the woman, one by one. On the third attempt, It is said that the woman was instantly healed. For Helena and the Christians present, there was no longer any doubt. This was the true cross. But the cross was not her only discovery. During her pilgrimage, Helena also found the nails of the crucifixion, fragments of the manger in Bethlehem, and other artifacts that Christians had believed lost. With each discovery, a new church was planned, a new landmark established. News of these discoveries spread like wildfire across the empire. Pilgrims from all over began pouring into the Holy Land. For the first time since Jerusalem's destruction by the Romans, the city once again became a center of pilgrimage. And all of this was thanks to a woman who, at 80 years old, refused to believe that some treasures were lost forever. But as the faithful celebrated, critical voices began to emerge. How had these relics survived 3 centuries buried underground? And why were they found just when the empire most needed symbols to unite Christians and pagans? As the sacred relics emerged from the soil of Jerusalem, Helena knew that finding them was not enough. They needed to be protected and celebrated. With the power and wealth of the empire behind her, she launched a construction project that would forever transform the landscape of the Holy Land. At the exact spot where the true cross was discovered, Helena ordered the construction of her most ambitious project, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Imagine hundreds of artisans and workers, using the most advanced techniques of the time, building a monument meant to defy the ages. The very stones you can touch today were personally selected by Helena nearly 1700 years ago. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre was more than just a building. It was a statement in stone and marble. Its golden domes and ornate walls declared to the world that Christianity, once persecuted, now stood triumphant. But Helena didn't stop there. In Bethlehem, at the site believed to be Jesus' birthplace, she commissioned the construction of the Church of the Nativity. On the Mount of Olives, the Church of the Ascension was built. Each construction marked not just a sacred site, but told part of the story that Helena was determined to preserve for future generations. What few people know is that Helena personally oversaw every detail of these constructions. At 80 years old, she walked among the construction sites, discussed plans with architects and hand-picked materials. Her vision extended beyond the simple building of churches. She was creating a sacred roadmap, a path that pilgrims would follow for centuries to come. And they still do today. When a modern pilgrim enters the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, touches its ancient walls or kneels down to pray, they are experiencing a legacy that began with the vision of one remarkable woman. But this raises an intriguing question. Why would an empress dedicate the final years of her life to such an ambitious project? As Helena's churches rose across the Holy Land, whispers echoed through the halls of power in Rome. Some saw something greater than mere devotion in the actions of the Empress Mother. After all, what would truly drive a woman who had experienced both power and rejection? Think about it. Helena lived 2 completely different lives. In the first, she was a simple tavern keeper, abandoned for the sake of political ambition. In the second, she became one of the most powerful women in the world. She knew better than anyone how power and faith could intertwine. The timing of her discoveries was perfect, perhaps too perfect. Constantine's empire was facing an identity crisis. Christians and pagans needed to find a way to coexist. And then came Helena, building a new sacred geography, offering tangible symbols for a faith that had until then survived on memories and oral traditions. Historical records show that every church built by Helena instantly became a pilgrimage center. People from all over the empire, both Christian and non-Christian, traveled to see the relics and monuments. The empire, once divided by religious differences, found a new point of unity through these sacred sites. But would it be fair to reduce all of this to political calculation? Historical sources depict a Helena who lived modestly despite her power, a woman who served food to the poor with her own hands, who walked barefoot through the holy sites. Are these the actions of someone solely interested in power? Perhaps the truth about Helena is more complex than simply choosing between faith or politics. In a world where religion and power were inseparable, she may have been one of the few who understood how to use both for a greater purpose. a woman who transformed her own journey of rejection and redemption into the story of an entire empire. But Helena's true legacy goes beyond this debate. Helena of Jerusalem left behind more than churches and relics. She created a model of power that blended the divine with the earthly, a blueprint that the Catholic Church would follow for the next 1,000 years. Her discoveries may have been miracles or the work of a brilliant political strategist, just like the Oracle of Delphi, another mystery that continues to intrigue historians today. And as you reflect on whether the true cross was really the cross of Christ, ask yourself, does it matter? The true miracle may have been how a former tavern keeper transformed her personal quest into a revolution that forever changed the face of Christianity. Helena's story forces us to question how much of what we consider sacred was born of divine truth, and how much was carefully constructed to make us believe. To better understand how the ancients created their own miracles, watch our video on the Oracle of Delphi. You'll be surprised by the similarities.